Because when you're VP, you're kind of hiding behind the president. And we've only really seen the full Kamala, I would say, in the last 2 months. And the more we see of her, with the exception of a very competent debate performance, the more I see in interviews, the more unsubstantial she seems. And I think that is her problem, is that people think she talks in a kind of word salady way, and that Trump, for all his, nonsense sometimes, at least has a quite clear messaging marketing process, which he just rams home the same things again and again and again, and they do resonate with people. How concerned are you that with just 3 weeks to go, that Kamala has that issue of she was probably a pretty left-wing progressive, she's barreled her way back to the centre as fast as she can, but people aren't really buying it?
Well, of course nobody's buying it. So here we are today on Piers Morgan Uncensored, and he's got a panel lined up. I see Tim Pool and I see Vinnie from the Patrick Bet David podcast. I don't know who the other two are, but yeah, is Kamala? Of course, Kamala is completely empty. She's an empty shell. The bits and pieces of interviews I've seen, she just says the same nothing over and over, or word salad, absolutely word salad. At least Trump attempts to, with his bombast, with his humor, with just the way he is, he does have a message, although I think his message is much more lukewarm than it was in 2016. But let's see what these guys have to say about Kamala.
I don't think she's
part of the misogyny.
Sorry, Tim, I was for Wajah. Sorry,
go ahead.
I think that's part of the misogyny that Tim was talking about, that when you look at a career professional like Kamala Harris, who was a district attorney, who was an attorney general, who was a senator, who was a vice president, and who's now running for president, who has come out with record rallies, a record amount of enthusiasm, and who right now is leading in the polls. You compare her to Donald Trump, who just yesterday, literally, and I'm using the word literally as it's meant to be used, at his rally, instead of answering questions for 39 minutes, I've never seen this before in my life, I'm 43 years old, just sat there swaying and dancing, right? He literally canceled a CNBC interview just today, about an hour ago. He refuses to release his medical records. He canceled the 60 Minutes interview. He refuses to do another debate. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris says, okay, I'm going to go to Call Her Daddy. I'm going to go to New Media. I'm going to go do 60 Minutes. I'm going to do Howard Stern. I'm going to go to Stephen Colbert. I'll do another debate. He doesn't want to do a debate. I'll do a town hall. I'll even go to Joe Rogan. This is called a campaign that is run by professionals. This is a professional politician, a professional public servant who actually knows what she's doing. Now, the razor's edge, like we all discussed, is because it is going to be a close race thanks to the electoral college, the battleground states. She is going to win the popular vote. I believe she will win the presidency. This reminds me more of 2012, where the polls were very similar. And a lot of people thought, Obama's not going to pull through. I think she will. I think she's doing a really smart thing right now by going on Rogan, all these other outlets, trying to win over the argument. And I agree with Tim. I never thought I would say this. I agree with Tim that we do have a misogyny problem and a racism problem in America, which is why some people, some young men who realize Donald Trump has only a concept of a plan and no plan, might not vote for Kamala Harris. But I do believe she has the enthusiasm and she will get it done.
Yeah, well, okay. If he's all in on the Kamala train, good for him. I don't see it, but anything's possible. And I didn't hear what Tim Pool actually said about having a misogyny problem, or about America having a misogyny and racism problem. Frankly, I don't think it has a problem at all. In fact, hot take coming in, I don't think there's enough misogyny and racism. But save that for another video.
All right, Vinnie, your response to that.
I mean, first and foremost, anything that's negative about Trump, I always refer back, Piers, as you know. We've already had the 4 years of Donald Trump. I don't know what this guy's talking about. It sounds like you're getting paid by the Democratic Party. We've already had 4 years of Trump, and we were winning, okay? Look at this past 4 years. You please tell me, you talked about her career as a, in San Francisco and everything. What did she accomplish when she was there? 146 laws that she tried to get behind, none of them were passed, okay? She has an abysmal record. If anything that we've seen in this past 4 years, you think that, what's Kamala going to do different? I'm just curious. What do you think Kamala's going to do? I don't care about the enthusiasm. I don't care about the men for Kamala. Sure. Please tell me name one policy that she's going to do that's going to save America from this past 4 years that she's been involved in.
Soy boys for Kamala, that's what they should call it.
Very curious. Very curious.
Sure,
You don't have
here we go.
anything. There's
Here we go.
nothing. Okay, wait, ready for this?
Can you let me
But before
speak?
you go, is it the border?
Hang on.
Yeah, is it the
you asked a
economy?
question,
What
let
is
him
it?
answer. Vajra.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
All right, here we go. Unlike Donald Trump, she's not going to unleash the military on U.S. citizens. He promised to do that on the weekend. Unlike Donald Trump, she's actually support Obamacare and strengthen it, not destroy it. Unlike
That's
Trump
not a
and
policy.
Republicans,
That's
she's
not a
going to actually
policy.
fund Social
That's not a
Security.
policy.
Yes, it is. She's going to fund Social Security
That's not a
and
policy.
she's going to fund Medicare. Donald Trump and Republicans said they want to destroy it. She's going to reinstate Roe v. Wade. She's going to try to actually make that into law, unlike Donald Trump and Republicans who overturned it, and which is why they're going to lose the election, because they attack women, women's rights. They're going to go after contraceptive and IVF. There you go, genius.
Vinny? You're a genius, Vinny, apparently.
That's that. So that thank you. I'm a genius, but like Piers, let's just face the facts, okay? All the fear, all the mongering, all the everything. I've already lived through 4 years of Trump, okay? And Kamala Harris, say what you want, she wasn't the president. She was with Biden the entire time, and he's been throwing her ass under the bus lately. He's saying every decision I made, she was right there with me. So for all the real Americans that are sitting out there listening, everything, all the problems that you have at home, the inflation, the border, the Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment complexes. Are you ready for this? A tornado, hurricanes destroying Florida, and our government, FEMA, Alejandro Mayorkas and Kamala, give them 700, excuse me, let me finish. I live in Florida.
This has been
$750. Meanwhile, meanwhile, this year, we've given $100 billion to freaking Ukraine.
Well, Vinny's, as usual, he's getting very worked up, as he usually does, but he brings up a few good points. I want to hear, maybe this lady's going to fact-check Vinny on the whole FEMA thing.
To Israel and everybody, not one American should ever suffer or be asking for money, ever. We're America first. Trump's America first. Biden and Kamala are America last. And the numbers show it. Don't act like I'm sitting here like some right-wing maniac, okay? Look at the stats.
Yeah, America first. All the party would have to say, again, if they just say we're going to close the border, any so-called asylum seekers can just remain in Mexico and we will, quote-unquote, process their asylum requests, which will just be rubber-stamped denied if I were in charge. And yeah, sorry, no throwing money around in Ukraine. Insane what's going on there. No throwing money around to Israel to support its now... Well, it's fighting on two fronts, and it wants a war against Iran, which of course it wants us to pay for. Yeah, Vinny makes some good points.
You're showing you're a right-wing maniac.
You sound like a right-wing maniac.
You don't need.
Well, if that's right wing, call me right wing, but I would go a lot further personally, so I'd be ultra right wing compared to Vinny.
D'Amico, I think you were calling Vinny God throughout that response. So explain yourself. Why you think he's so godlike?
Who is this calling Vinny God? I wasn't calling him God.
Well, you were saying
Vinny
God
might
repeatedly.
think
I
he's
wasn't
God.
sure if you meant he was a god.
Oh
or you
my
were...
God is what I was saying.
I know.
God.
I was yanking your
I'm
chain.
so sick of the QAnon talking points. Listen, I mean, there's so much to debunk there, and it's really...
The name.
Vinny, you had your moment, okay? Please, I've been very quiet here, listening to you guys as the woman, as you explain misogyny to everyone watching.
As a woman, I have something to say about misogyny.
Go there. I love women.
You know, because I'm a... Oh, you love women. I'm sure they love you, too. Listen, this is going to be determined by women. This election is going to be determined by women. And women are not only, we saw it in 2022, this country has turned out in response to Roe v. Wade, not just because it's an attack against abortion rights and abortion access and the right to choose, but also it shows that the Republican Party and Donald Trump have had an agenda, not only through cutting off clinics, funding to clinics across the country, attacks on IVF, not only with their online agenda, like Tim Pool here, who was funded by the Russians, let's not forget, that they had an agenda.
Ooh, shots fired.
To sway young male voters into being radicalized through disinformation campaigns. This is all out there at this point. Part of the gender divide here right now is because folks like Tim Pool and others who once said that they were Bernie Sanders supporters, who I worked for, were suddenly pulling people away and pulling young men away and radicalizing them. So I think we have a problem with young men right now, and that they don't respect women, as you're seeing with Vinnie. They don't respect facts. They don't read newspapers. They don't understand polls. They don't understand misogyny. They don't understand people of color, and they don't understand that that immigration bill was blocked.
And you know what?
Here we go. Here we go. Young men are being radicalized by Tim Pool, Mr. Complete Lackluster, lukewarm on everything, Mr. Centrist. And of course, she brings up the immigration bill, which was blocked by the Republicans.
Donald Trump and his Republicans.
Namiki, I'll come to Tim for a response, but Namiki, what you may not understand is it's precisely that attitude towards younger men that is driving them to Donald Trump. And I think the election in the end will not be won with women. It will be won with men. And interestingly, increasing numbers of Black American men and Latino.
Well, interesting take there by Piers. Will it be won by men or will it be won by women? I have no idea. We shall see. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And please, while you're at it, like and subscribe. Really helps me grow the channel and continue making content for you.